All right, well, it happened. Adult film actress Stormy Daniels was interviewed for a while. I think it was about a half hour on CBS's 60 Minutes last night. We actually didn't really learn much of anything new. The highlights sort of were that right after she had spanked Trump with a rolled up magazine and I guess had a sexual encounter with him, Trump said gleefully that she reminds him of his daughter Ivanka. That continues to be really weird and creepy, but we already knew about that. She said she was not physically attracted to Trump, but that she was not a victim. This is not a Me Too moment. Everything that happened was consensual. She restated that she had been physically threatened over the affair. She gave the details. I believe this part was new, that she was in a Las Vegas garage on the way to a fitness class, and a guy came up to her. She was with her then infant daughter and said, "Forget about the Trump story. That's a nice little girl you have. Would be terrible if something happened to her mom." She was asked, do you have pictures or texts that are supporting corroborative evidence of this affair with Trump? She said, "I've been advised by my attorney not to comment on that." And she also admitted, yeah, I previously did lie and say I didn't have an affair with Trump, but that was because I was scared about what would happen. And that last thing, which is, listen, if you lied before, how can we trust that now you're telling the truth? That came up. Anderson Cooper asked her about it during the 60 Minutes interview, and here's what she had to say.
How do we know you're telling the truth?
Because I have no reason to lie. I'm opening myself up for, possible danger and definitely a whole lot of shit.
Yeah. So I don't know how much we learned, but it's good to continue to get this stuff on record. She is already being smeared by some on the right. There's a bunch of articles going around saying, did you notice how dilated Stormy Daniels' pupils were, even though she was in a really brightly lit room, which would have caused her pupils to contract rather than dilate? She was probably on something. She was probably lying. We just really can't believe anything. And people seem kind of split on the importance of this story. There's people who say this is a lame story. There's no reason to cover it. It's tabloid nonsense. And then there's other who say, no, this story is important. And there's a couple different reasons why people are saying the story is important. First is, if this is a pattern, and we already have other women saying, hey, I also had an affair with Trump and I ended up either with hush money or a non-disclosure agreement, maybe with possible threats. We've not yet found out more about that. That would be notable for the president of the United States to have engaged in that. The more immediate concern is the legality of that $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels and whether it was legal. Because question one is, okay, Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, says he paid Stormy $130,000 out of his own money. If that's true, that could count as an in-kind contribution to the campaign of Donald Trump of $130,000. You might know that the maximum you're allowed to contribute is $2,700. So that would be a problem. If Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, was paid back by Donald Trump for that money, then we have to look at where the payback money came from, because if it came out of Trump's campaign funds, that could possibly be an illegal use of campaign money, which, by the way, John Edwards got in trouble for. So there is precedent in terms of people being prosecuted for that. And lastly, there's the hypocrisy of Trump. And I know that at this point, Trump is so hypocritical on almost every issue. I don't know how much people care about this part of it, but Trump has been complaining for years and attacking Hillary on the basis of Bill Clinton's scandals and sexual impropriety. Now Trump has the exact same issues to deal with, which I guess we're disqualifying even for Hillary, even though they weren't her scandals. I don't expect that angle to be brought up really at any point, because it's so secondary or tertiary to everything else going on.
Well, I guess the difference there would be that this was a consensual relationship, where as what Bill Clinton was accused of was sexual misconduct that would have been illegal.
Some of those cases, not all.
Yep.
Some of those cases, not all.
So
but that is,
I think of it more as hypocrisy coming from the evangelicals on the right, who thought of Trump as some holy person.
Yes, who I guess believed that his second favorite book was the Bible after the book that some other dude wrote and put Trump's name on. We'll see where this goes. I do think that this is a real story. I don't think that this is, when we've got the decimation of the EPA and just all this other stuff going on. Obviously, this is not the biggest story, but I think it is relevant, and it's important to keep a sort of tabs on, keep track of where the story is. Today's program is sponsored in part by Shaker and Spoon, which is a monthly cocktail subscription box that delivers the craft cocktail experience right to your door, sort of like Blue Apron, but for cocktails. Every month they send you the ingredients for 3 completely new original cocktail recipes, 12 total cocktails, enough to last you the whole month. I get tired of having the same drink all the time because all I really know, my lack of creativity with cocktails basically means I take soda water and vodka and then put a piece of fruit in it. That's basically the extent of my cocktail making skills. So I got what's called the Death by Gin box from Shaker and Spoon. 3 drinks came with it, the ingredients for 3 drinks: the Taurus Tea Gimlet, the Above a Persimmon, and the Valet. These range from sweet to savory, including such clever ingredients as onion brine. And I think my favorite drink was the Above a Persimmon. I'm a big persimmon guy. I've been known to eat a persimmon or 2 in my day. And the kit comes with everything you need except for the gin. You pick the gin that you like. I picked a particularly dry gin, which allowed me to, for about 5 minutes when I had friends over and explained I was going to be making gin drinks, to kind of sound like I knew what I was talking about. And it's a really great way to just try different cocktails instead of relying on memory, or in my case, my knowledge of one cocktail that I know how to make. And for a limited time, you can get $20 off by going to shakerandspoon.com/Pakman. If you're watching this on YouTube, I've put a link in the description under the video.